Hey, it's Brent Garell here from First Moves Marketing with your first move of the day. What is the first move of the day? Well, we begin each day with an opportunity to put your digital business ahead of the curve. If, of course, the opportunity is right for you. And today's opportunity is for you if you find that you're really too hard on yourself as your own boss inside your digital business. And the opportunity that I want to present to you today is one that brings balance to that situation, but still allows you to get enough done during the week so you end up ahead of the curve. So before we get to that, let's just cover why you're probably being too hard on yourself as your own boss inside your digital business. And I feel comfortable sharing these two scenarios because I've experienced them both myself. So there could be a situation, number one, where you're just not being strict enough on yourself in terms of getting everything done that you want to accomplish. And that's easy to do when you start working on your digital business, because you no longer have a boss looking over your shoulder and you are, of course, your own boss. So it's easy to get tempted to do other things rather than work on your business. The trouble is you get to the end of the week and then you look at what you've accomplished and then you end up being really hard on yourself for not doing everything you wanted to do. So you might fall into that category, and let me know if that is the case for you. The other end of the spectrum, which I've experienced as well, is that you end up being too strict on yourself. And this is really easy to do in a 1 or 2 person business because it's so easy to overcommit to doing things. The problem with that is, of course, you get to the end of the week and you're not even close to what you thought you could get done. And there was no way you were going to get it done anyway, but you're still hard on yourself because you're not even close to that. And then you beat yourself up, and that doesn't help move your business forward. So, what's the solution here? Is it kind of this middle road strictness on yourself and your business? That's better than the other 2 scenarios for sure. But what I find is if you're in the middle of the road, you're really with everybody else, right? Everybody's going to probably experience one of these 2 extremes and then work their way to the middle. So what's the opportunity here? Well, I think the opportunity is to get to that middle strictness and then turn it up a quarter turn. And this is something my dad taught me when, I used to work with him or I still do work with him. And this is how he taught me how to tighten things with a wrench. Stick with me here. He would often say, you go tight and then you go quarter turn more. Because if you go too tight, you break things. And if you leave it too loose, obviously you're going to have trouble down the road. So you go tight so it's secure, and then you go quarter turn more so you don't have any problems down the road. And I think this is the same thing we can use inside our digital business to get ahead of the curve. For instance, earlier this week, or just yesterday, I shared a digital marketing challenge of the week. And the challenge is to do homework for 15 to 20 minutes each day to learn more about your audience and then capture that information in a spreadsheet, really simple spreadsheet that I created, that can capture all this information in one spot. So when you go to create your content, you can work all that information into your content like you're reading your audience's mind, which is really powerful stuff. Now, if you want to take part in that challenge, I'll share the link in the comments below. But here's what I expect to happen from the people who decide to take on this challenge. You're going to have a group of people who are going to take it on, but be really not strict enough on themselves. So they'll end up doing 1 day a week. And then they'll get to the end of the week. They'll look at what they did and they'll say, oh, the challenge was 5 days. I only did it 1. And they'll beat themselves up for only doing 1 day. And it won't only be the challenge. There'll be other stuff in their business, and that'll just kind of brew and make things worse. On the other end of the spectrum, you get the people who overcommit and they say, he said 5 days, I'm going to do 7. I'm just going to overcommit. That's going to put me way ahead of the curve. But at the end of the day, it's just not possible. They're a 1 or 2 person business. They have a lot of stuff going on as well. And it's just not going to happen. What happens there? They get to the end of the week and then they beat themselves up because they weren't able to accomplish what they wanted to. Of course, there will be the people who end up in the middle. They do 3 days, which is great. You can get a lot of information about your audience doing those 3 days of homework. But what if you said, you know what? I'm going to go the 3 days because I know most people are going to end up here. But the opportunity for me is to go quarter turn more and commit to a minimum of 4 days. So a minimum of 4 days, I'll try to get to the 5, but if I don't hit the 5, I won't beat myself up. I know I got to hit that minimum of 4 because I know that'll put me ahead of the curve. Why? Because if I start with everybody else and I do 4 days, then I'll know 25% more about my audience compared to them if they only do 3. If I do that over 2 weeks with everybody else, I'll know 50% more about my audience. If I do it 3 weeks, I'll know 75% more about my audience. And if I do it over a month, I'll know 100% more about my audience. And I really hope my math is right here because that's going to be really embarrassing. By going a quarter turn more, you're opening up more opportunities for your digital business, but at the same time, you're not going crazy where you're driving yourself into the ground and beating yourself up because you're overcommitting or you're not doing enough. So the big question is, with this opportunity that I presented with you today, will that help bring balance to your business if you feel like you're beating yourself up all the time? And will it bring balance so you're not doing that? And at the same time, put your digital business ahead of the curve. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.